Okay, and now hopefully you get some of the basics. I'm going to actually copy and paste information from our blog post, and this blog post will be in the description of our YouTube video, so go ahead and click that. But I've left a ton of comments, so hopefully you guys will understand what each line means. I try to segment it out so it's pretty basic. I'm going to copy everything and paste it over here, but everything else that we're going to be doing is within this message section here. So we're going to register our user and display JSON data, and that's all that's going to change here. Everything else will be kind of the same concept, just so you don't get confused. So I'm going to copy that, paste it over here, and now let's just kind of go through it. So again, this is checking if there's any data being posted to our page or our script. If there is some information of any sort, then it's going to execute that message section. But we can even get more specific. We can say, hey, is this input empty? Because again, down here we have our input, and this is where our name holds its importance, is because we give the username input username, and we give this name as password. So when we hit submit, it posts this data again, and we can reference this specific input by its name. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing next. We're just checking if they submitted the form when when the form has not completely been filled out. So we're going to say, hey, is the post information for the name of username empty, or is the post information for password empty? We're going to create a variable called response. In PHP, again, $signs are creating a variable, and we're just kind of giving our response a specific key and value. So it's going to be success and 0, because 0 is going to be a failed message because either the username or the password has not been filled out. And we're also going to give it the message of, hey, please enter both username and password. Lastly, we're going to kill our page with the die command. So what die does is it won't execute any PHP code below where it dies, if that makes sense. So once we call die, it's going to be like, none of this is going to happen. But we're still going to spit out JSON data, so we know that the registration was unsuccessful. And when we kill a page, we can display a message like, I'm just going to cut this here and say like failure or something. Okay, and so then if we go back to our registration.php file and we just type in something like a username, but we forget to put in our password and hit register, it's going to hit this failure. It's going to kill our page, and because our password was not filled out, and it's going to just display this failure message. But what we've done is we've set up a variable here, and we want to transform that into JSON data. And I know some of you guys don't know exactly what JSON data is. Don't worry, we'll get into that here shortly. But there's just a PHP method that turns a variable set up like this into JSON data. And so we're going to save that register .php, reload our page, emptying the cache, and hit trav or whatever and register a new user. I think there's already a user named Trav, and we got a success message. Oops, sorry, we haven't got that far within our PHP script. So we're going to register a new user and hit register without a password, and we're going to get this failure message. So success is 0, which means it failed, and then we have a message of please enter username and password. Man, this tutorial is probably going to be kind of lengthy here, but after we get done with this registration form, the rest of the scripts are going to be pretty easy because they're going to be similar. So if we made it past here, we know that the user put in both of the username and password. Next thing that we want to do is check if the user already exists. So what we're going to do is create a simple query. This is some SQL that we're just going to run and see if there's another user already. So we're going to say select one from users where username equals, and right here this colon user, that is kind of a way to protect us from SQL injections, because we'll define it like that, which will be a variable, and then we'll define what that variable is later. such as post, again username. So all we're saying here is select one from where user is blah blah blah. We're going to copy that line and go into our database here. And if we select one of our tables here, as you can see here, it's running a query select asterisk from user limit 0 to 30. So what that's doing is it's saying select all, and asterisk is everything, from our users table and display anywhere from 0 to 30. So if we had more than 30 users, it would say like it'd only be like the first 30, if that makes sense. So what we're doing actually is if we go into the SQL here and select one from users, where is another SQL term, where username is equal to Trav. So for example, if we posted information as Trav, it's going to post, and as you can see, there was something that was returned. We have a row being displayed here. If we want to go back just to show you guys, if we did, whoops, oh, never mind. So that's kind of how our query works. Again, I'm sorry I'm kind of going through all these technologies real quickly, like SQL and PHP and stuff. Lot to cover in a shorter period of time, but eventually I'll create a PHP series and a SQL series as well, covering all the basics. But hopefully you guys kind of follow along. It's pretty easy. Next thing that we do, like I said, we're just changing this variable into what we posted, and then we're going to try to run this query. So we got to prepare a database. Again, we need to include that config.include.php file, and then this will be a result after we execute what our query was. So that's kind of how it works. We load up our query and then we execute it using this kind of variable that we set up here. Hopefully that makes sense. Then we just catch our exceptions. If there's an exception, again, we're just going to display some JSON data saying database error, please try again. If it was successful, then we're good to go. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to get our row. It's going to fetch the information from our query again, our statement. And if there is a row, again, if it returned 1, it's going to say, hey, I'm sorry, there is already a user registered, because it did return information. What we want is it to not be able to return any rows, because that way we know there's no users in our database with that same username. So again, if there is a row that's returned, it's going to kill our page and display this JSON data. Alright, so now if we've made it this far, what we actually want to do is create a new user. So before select is a SQL thing where it's just displaying the information from our database, not adding to it, not deleting it, not changing it. It's just displaying what is in our database. What we actually want to do is insert a new user into our database. Again, this is just an SQL query that we're going to be running. Insert into the users table with a username and a password, and again we have these variables to help us with security a little bit. And then we set up our parameters, which establish our post information into those variables, and then again we run our query, and again if we have a database error, we're going to kill our page. Otherwise we're going to say, hey, it's successful, we've added a user. And lastly, we're just going to echo that success message in JSON form. So I know there's a lot we covered there, guys. I know it's a lengthy tutorial, but hopefully you guys understand PHP a little bit. The next few tutorials are going to be a lot shorter. We're going to get a lot more done because I won't have to explain some of this basic stuff we just went through. We're just going to be developing out our scripts. I know PHP might be new to some of you, but hopefully that made sense.